Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lord Live TV here with another video on Cash today, of course, for HSG Academy. Uh, Today we're going to be talking about the best way to hold as CT, and that's going to be, for now, a 2-1-2. And this is just the way I see as the best default for Cash. It starts off passive, and then, depending on how the round breaks down, uh, you push for information or to get more map control if you lose map control later in the round. So uh, let's get right into it. Okay. So basically on Cash, usually you're used to seeing the 1-2-2, where you have one person soloing the A bomb site, one person playing the highway, and one person dedicated mid, and then one person dedicated to anchoring B, and then a rotator on B. You're also used to seeing a 1-3-1, which is one anchor on each bomb site and then 3 players dedicated towards mid, 2 of which would be rotators to the bomb site closest to them. And then you're used to the standard 2-1-2, and usually you'd see the 2-1-2, just one guy in mid either playing white box or Z, right? So what we're going to be talking about today is this style of 2-1-2 play that I think is the best way to play a 2-1-2 on Cash CT side. So let's get into it, because the most important guy, in my opinion, is the person who is spotting mid and holding mid control at the beginning of the rounds, and that is the white box guy, right? So in this, you're going to have the A anchor, you're going to have the player who supports them as the rotator. You're going to have the B anchor and the player who supports them as the rotator most of the time. In this setup, you can have either your op on B or A, both are viable. But actually, what I've seen more success with is actually having your opping from quad on this setup. You'll see why later, because eventually this guy will probably have to leave the white box area and forfeit mid controls to the T's, since we're not dedicating as much utility or players towards holding mid control on this CT side setup on Cash. So basically, all focus goes into this guy. This guy's your main rotator, and this guy should be one of your most experienced rotating type players, one of your better players. So this guy is at the beginning of the round coming Z, smoking mid main, and he could be mauling boost as well. And he's just sitting here spotting mid, and then he's holding the control for his team, just saying like, hey, like the terrorists can't be here. As soon as they come out and they can be vents, he tells his players that, because players checkers either probably wants to get back checkers or fall back into the site, because vent is a very powerful position for the terrorists to help crunch checkers with their B main guys as well, with this B main cross smoke. So that's very important. This player has to be able to communicate to his teammates a lot. So and then also he doesn't want to commit his life to any frags in mid, right? When you would want to be committing your life to frags in mid is when you're playing with 3 players in mid and you're fighting for control. This is kind of just like take a few pop shots and you're falling off. So one thing that you can do to try and get a cheeky kill before you fall off is have one of your, either your site anchor or your site rotator at A, come here and flash mid for you, so that you can peek, try and get a kill. And these players could have 2 flashes, so they could throw 2 flashes over, and these flashes won't blind you, so you could try and get some kills before you fall back. And then as you fall back, you might want to just toss a flash like that and get yourself out of there, right? So that's what happens if the terrorists get mid control. It's pretty easy to get mid control against this kind of setup. So what happens after you give up the mid control? What does this player become? Well, what I like to have this player become is first is that if you lose this map control, we want to gain more map control to even it out, so we want to get a main control, right? So this player can come here and set up a pop flash for one of the site players or both of the site players to come in here. Something that is good is because if players are setting up for an XQ, or there's like more than one player in A main, maybe just the guy defaulting in general, usually people in A main will be counter flashing, and they'll turn around after a pop flash pops, right? So if you do this as the player who's about to get flashed in, and that you make your own like shitty pop flash pop, and then you get the actual pop flash in, what will happen is this player will hear the pop flash that you've thrown pop, and he'll be coming out here to get ready to fight you from pushing A main, and then your teammate's pop flash will blind him, and it'll ensure that you're running into all blind players once you come into to get A main control. So these would be the A guys being flashed in by the player who rotated from mid. You could also change it up on your teams and have whoever set up whoever to get flashed in. But yeah, pairing it up with this molly is also always a good thing to block off support from any teammates that want to help anyone in A main that's getting flashed. And something to be aware of as well is while you're getting A main control, you're pretty vulnerable from Squeaky, someone opening up Squeaky and trying to kill you if they know that's what's going to happen soon. So while you're holding A main control, you got to be careful about that too. So once this player has flashed his teammate in, the Opper, if you have the Opper on A, should be posted up highway, and then this player can stay on A playing from like E-box or this area, helping to watch A until it is seen by the Opper, quad, or whoever's spotting highway. It could even be the rotator that is spotting highway if you guys don't have an op. And you could be holding A main with two people, one of them in charge of Squeaky and baiting out shots from these players, baiting for his teammate lockers. So this guy could be spotting, and once it is known that the terrorists have come up and been spotted at white box, you need to rotate either your rotator that was playing white box before, or whoever rotator you want to rotate. You need one person to be watching Z, right? So that could mainly be this guy, or if you want to have a have your setup towards A, say they're doing like this control smoke, which usually is setting up some kind of A execute, you can leave these three players at A and run sort of an A stack based off a read that you have, and one of your B players, your B rotator, can rotate out and spot Z and B at the same time. So, other than that, guys, that's pretty much how I think the setup, like down to the basics, really, that's how it should work. Obviously, there's much more advanced things that you could do out of this. Cache is a map that's in this meta T-sided, so I feel like on the CT side, you do have to look for information during the mid rounds and try and play a little more aggressive than on other CT sides and other maps. So you shouldn't always be running this kind of 2-1-2 setup. You should be mixing in like some 1-3-1s with aggressive counter boost plays with having a player playing from this position, or you could even be doing 3-man armor pushes into B. Fighting for A main control at the beginning of rounds is always viable in this setup as well. Yeah, and I feel like Cache is a map of a lot of different CT setups, but this would be the best one to use as a default in this meta, in my opinion. So, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know how you like it, and like the video and like the concept of this CT setup in the comments below. Let me know. Let me know how it works for your teams if you try it out. Other than that, guys, subscribe for more content. That's Lord Live TV signing out.